So hello, ladies and gentlemen. Yours truly is in a disco kind of mood today. And in fact, I think every day is a disco mood where yours truly is concerned. 1997, Titanic, James Cameron's magnum opus, although in my case, I think the man actually sold out. But remember when Kate Winslet was stood on the front of that ship and Leonardo DiCaprio was behind her? Now behave yourselves, you know what I'm thinking about. I think they should call Sweet Baby Inc. the new Titanic, because every time they are called in to consult with a brand new video game, that IP, those developers, you have to say bon voyage to them, because again, it's the kiss of death for anyone who dares to enlist the help of SBI.
It's stupid for everybody because of this whole minorities in Hollywood thing. Stop stealing, all the white people's superheroes. Make up your own. You know what I'm saying? What's up with that?
The name's Nukem. Duke Nukem. No, I'm not here to kick ass or chew bubblegum. I'm not here to get even with those alien bastards for shooting up my ride either. I'm here to tell you to watch Jason King on Kung Fu Hot Dog. So watch out for him and his babes of the 1980s. Oh, and one more thing. Hail to the king, baby.
So yesterday, the one day I decided to take off and get my friend to come round to rig up my new lighting system here, which is absolutely fantastic. Didn't even cost an arm and a leg, actually. But unfortunately, folks, Avalanche Studios are now another casualty of war when it comes to getting your game under DEI, inclusion, and everything else, because modern day video gaming, folks, that's what it's all about. Towards the end of this video, by the way, I will show you something that just didn't make me cry or anything like that, but it just reminded me why gaming used to be a great hobby for me and a great pastime that I constantly enjoy. But Avalanche Studios lays off nearly 10% of its staff and announces closure of its New York and Montreal locations. Now, you'll know who Avalanche Studios are because when I go through their gaming library in a few moments, you'll know exactly what they're all about. Contraband, I will talk about that in a short while as well. But if we go over to the official statement from Avalanche, since its inception over 20 years ago, Avalanche Studios Group has grown to encompass 5 locations worldwide: Stockholm, New York, Malmo, Liverpool, and Montreal. Today, we regretfully announce the closure of 2 of those locations, New York and Montreal, as aforementioned. This means we'll be parting ways with around 50 valued friends and colleagues, which represents roughly 9% of Avalanches worldwide. This is an exceptionally difficult decision. That's the boilerplate response, because they always think to themselves in the boardroom, how are we going to break the news? Oh yeah, just use that phrase because it always makes the pain less painful, which is obviously not true. But we believe it's necessary to ensure a stable and sustainable future for the company. Isn't that something that Xbox also said when they closed down 4 studios this year as well? Trust me, folks, this is not the first, and it's definitely not the last time we're going to hear about studio closures. It's going to continue throughout the year into next year, because apparently the next progression of video gaming, according to Naughty Dog over at Sony, a lot of your future games are going to be narrative driven with AI. So prepare for that monstrosity. Our focus is now on supporting all Avalanches through this challenging time. We're grateful for the invaluable contributions of those leaving and remain committed to creating incredible gaming experiences for all of our players. So Contraband, a co-op smuggler's paradise. It's set in 1970s Bayou County or somewhere around that region, brought to you by Avalanche and Xbox Game Studios. And yes, so it's going to be an Xbox exclusive, available on Steam and Windows 10 PC. I don't know why they're still quoting 10 because we're on Windows 11 now. Hopefully they're third and final. Now, I cannot play the trailer because it features Steely Dan, so I'll have to mute it here. I'll give you a quick glance. I think this will be the swan song for Avalanche Studios. It's nice, but it's a cinematic trailer. So the problem is when it's a cinematic, we have to start thinking to ourselves, well, what does the actual gameplay look like? And of course, this Sunday or Friday into the weekend, it is Summer Game Fest. So we're going to see the big reveal. The Xbox showcase is on Sunday. So I'll definitely be doing something for that in regards to the coverage. But I don't know. This could be a good game. If it's anything like Driver from the early or mid-noughts, it could be something on that expanse. But look, I'll watch this. It's a heist game. It looks all right, but again, cinematics, folks, it's a lazy way of saying, yeah, this is what we like to do because we don't actually have any actual gameplay footage. But there you go, Sweet Baby Inc. They boast about the clients they have at the moment, and all clients that are soon to be found at the bottom of the ocean. And Jack Cousteau, if he was still alive, would find these relics and bring them back up to the surface again. But of course, recently, I think it was last year actually, August 2023, Me Games, the people behind Shadow Gambit, the Cursed Crew, they closed down because of their involvement with Sweet Baby Stink. Square Enix, Electronic Arts, oh god, yeah, I mean, everybody's getting sucker punched. Deck 9, Raw Fury, Remedy. Again, I have no hope for the Max Payne releases. Our Worlds, Your Story. So Rage 2. Look, I've played this game, and what I would say about it is, yeah, it's nothing like the classic from 2011. I always keep getting that right. Either 2010 or 2011, the first Rage came out, where you had John Goodman from Roseanne as Dan Hagar. Fantastic, and his really hot screen sexy daughter who looks nothing like what she used to in Rage 2. And people were saying at the time, why are we having a Rage 2? I was excited because I liked the first game a lot. And look, the gameplay is fantastic, but the respawning enemies or enemies popping out of nowhere when you think you've cleared the area gets annoying and very old after a while. The driving is pretty good because there's Avalanche who are involved in that, so the driving feels a bit more smooth and combative. Just Cause 4, I played it, did not like it. I mean, yeah, you got a cool hero called Rico Rodriguez, but you know, he parachutes from one end to another. He doesn't punch enemies, he just shoots them down, and it's inventive ways of putting on explosives and blowing up things. It's a bit like MacGyver with a parachute, that's how I would describe it. But everybody says that Just Cause 2 was the best in the series. That's when it actually peaked. And after that, it kind of just went downhill. My favorite Avalanche game, again, I can't say I've played any of the others, is Mad Max from 2015. If you've not played that, what's the matter with you? It's very cheap to buy now on the preferred console of your choice.
A true promise. While ammunition can be exceedingly scarce, there are plenty of other weapons at your disposal that can prove to be just as deadly.
It's an absolutely fantastic game, and to think that we'll never get a Mad Max game again, I think that's the sad part. But Contraband could be the swan song for Avalanche. It might turn out to be a really good game, but I think what's actually more damaging is the DEI statement from Avalanche themselves. At Avalanche Studios Group, we are committed, as to being committed into an asylum, to developing a diverse and inclusive workplace. We are an equal opportunities employer and value diversity at our company. Everyone at Avalanche Studios Group has a shared responsibility to create an open and inclusive work environment where everyone is treated equally and with respect. So if you have white privilege, then you must allow equality to be in the workplace. You cannot be white anymore, folks, because you have to not sit on that throne of privilege, and just make sure you respect your fellow co-workers of whatever diversity and faith, ethnicity they come from with absolute respect, because as a man of color myself, I experienced so much hostility from my white privileged colleagues. It was a terrible time. The amount of lawsuits I took out and did not win a single one, and me and my mum ended up homeless on the streets of Belfast. I mean, that might make a great Hollywood story, folks, but yeah, that's just not going to happen. And look, before I even get to the end of this god-awful paragraph, being part of our world is is not contingent on where you're from, your gender, sexual orientation. It's all about your passion and creativity, which means that if you have an XYZ pronoun, for example, but you have no font of how to code a game together, you might have a chance of getting in, folks, because now it's not about meritocracy. It's about whether your skin and your sexual orientation is the perfect fit for that company. I tell you what, video game companies must be sick and tired of this statement. It's not a mission from God. It's just a mission just to course correct what happened decades before, when gaming and entertainment was fantastic. Now it's gone to dog shit. But folks, I want to leave you with this, actually. So Uncharted Drake's Fortune, I've recently replayed it again. It's still a fantastic game. Yes, it's got some niggling issues about it, but oh my God. I think that I love about that game is that there are certain set pieces, certain chapters within that game that I think, oh, I can't wait to play this bit. I remember what happened. It actually takes you back to a beautiful time, a beautiful place, and I just love it. So, you know, the reason why I highlight this particular documentary, which was curated together by various people online.
3 was able to allow us to create subtleties that we wouldn't be able to do previously. Skin detail, pore detail, have, you know, anatomically correct body structures, elaborate facial expressions. These are all things that the power of the PS3 has really allowed us to actually create. For our modeling pipeline, we have a certain mesh that is a clean mesh that we take in to a program like ZBrush.
And then that's the funny thing, because that's Navarro. I just remembered who he is. The thing is that, like, he's talking about the fact that with the PlayStation 3, they were able to multiply the polygons they could use to create all these gestures. Like for each character, it's like 200 poses. It's insane what he goes into. Can you imagine Sweet Baby Inc., all these diverse activist gaming groups out there? Can you imagine them sitting down talking with the amount of passion that this gentleman has right here? No, that's never going to happen. It's all going to be like, they're all going to be scrambling for how to do things. They're all grifters. At the end of the day, folks, when they're caught out, they're going to find themselves on the unemployment line and queuing up outside their nearest McDonald's, begging for a job, because God knows already that every single franchise, every corporation that you love is going to be infected with DEI stink and inclusivity all over the place. Why is it happening? Because it's Marxism. It's all that nonsense. You know, the oppressive state is coming to get you, folks. And if you don't fight back, it's going to consume you, and there's nothing more you can do. That's why I like to call myself the Omega Man. Charlton Heston, great movie. The better film to watch than I Am Legend with Will Smith, as far as I'm concerned. It all feels like that. And even at the moment as I speak, Adobe, those people, they now want to see what type of thumbnails you're creating on Adobe Photoshop. Because if you're doing anything like I am, or is deemed to be sinister, yeah, you're not going to get very far. But there's just a problem with that, Adobe, because you think people like me go online to use your fantastic software. I don't. I do everything offline. So if you have a problem with the thumbnails I create for YouTube, and by the way, YouTube has no problem with what I do because it's obviously what sells me, then I'm sorry, but you've got no leg to stand on, especially if you do actually have one leg. And also, my copy of Adobe Photoshop is all, well, given to me free of charge, because that's the kind of guy I am. Simple, nice, dumb, and full of doo-doo. And on that one, ladies and gentlemen, if you were me, and if I were you, you should come back for the next video.
Don't let your dreams be dreams. Dream of me. I'll make your dreams come true. Everything's possible with me.